Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Munch, munch, munch.
Hello and welcome to Daddy Eats Last, where we discuss the challenges of being a man in modern society and what the hell that even means. I'm Kane, and joining me as always are Ryan and Matthew. Firstly, gents, how was the weekend?
Pretty good, boys. Evening, Ryan and Kane. I had a couple of days off later in the week for school holidays, so I spent time with the girls, and then Saturday and Sunday just did a bit of stuff for the renovation of the house. So went down to IKEA to get a couple of things, picked out some paint colours, and yeah, here we are Sunday night.
Well, it's never ever a day off when you're at home with the kids. So it's just, you're really working another way.
That is very true. Yes, the wine works overtime.
What about you, Ryan?
Evening, gents. Yeah, weekend was nice. Friday night we had a bit of a staycation just in the city, have a bit of a break, and then chilled out most of Saturday, and found myself playing hockey in the rain today and studying for a course that I'm doing. So it was a bit of a working Sunday, but all very nice.
Well, I felt like I just did chores all weekend. I think I did 4 loads of washing, made a lasagna. I put a bed together for the kid, disposed of a mattress just literally now in the pouring rain and the wind out there. It was just one of those weekends where just lots of domestic bliss.
Life admin, I think they call it.
That's a nice way of putting it, isn't it? Life admin.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely non-chargeable work in the accounting sphere. But we're going to talk about interesting stuff tonight, fun stuff, not boring old chores like making a lasagna. We're talking bucket lists, and really not that crap. I think it was a crappy film with Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman. But a bucket list is actually a collection of goals, dreams, and aspirations that you would like to accomplish in your lifetime. And first cab off the rank, because we are going to do one episode each on our respective bucket lists. And at the moment, I think I've got a hole in my bucket, so we'll need to fix that and then refill it with some particular things. But Matthew McTighe is the lead-off person sharing his bucket list of items. Matthew, hit us with your bucket list.
Alrighty. I'll start by saying that I haven't always had a bucket list and haven't, I've only just recently started looking at my bucket list, mainly because Kim's doing this 100 Dreams thing where she has to write down a list of her dreams and aspirations, and the magic number is 100. So from there, I've started writing a couple of my own. So my bucket list is there's a few travel destinations on there, and there's a couple of other things as well. So I guess we'll start with going to Everest Base Camp, or doing a trek to Everest Base Camp. Now, the reason this is on my list is because I really would love to see Mount Everest with my own eyes. I have no intention or aspiration to climb the mountain itself, due to the high cost and the high possibility of death. Having a couple of kids, or 3 kids, is keeping me a bit more grounded these days. So that's not an aspiration, but actually seeing the mountain itself and the journey to get to the base camp as well is the reason that's top of my list. So
it's number one.
That's number one. Yeah, it's been probably on top of my mind, or in the background for a couple of years now. And yeah, I think since I had cancer a few years back.
I was going to take a step back and talk about that. Like, it's taken you a long time to make a bucket list, considering you went through testicular cancer a little while ago. I thought a bucket list would almost be on the back of that, but it's been quite a while post-cancer.
It has been, and yeah, I don't know why I didn't make a bucket list during my treatment, but I made a pact with Kimmy that once our little guy turns 5, or he's at school, and there's a little bit less responsibility there, that I can look at this bucket list goal of Everest Base Camp. So a few years to go yet, but yeah, that gives me all the more time to save and plan for it.
She's very understanding. I assume you're not going to do this over school holidays or on a public holiday like we've discussed before?
No, I did this, yes, while the kids are being entertained in their schooling.
Oh, I can understand. I can understand Everest Base Camp. It'd be a pretty unique thing to see. And having known a couple of people who've done the same thing, got to base camp, or just even seen the mountain, they raved about it. So, it's a completely understandable thing to have on a bucket list.
And I think as I get older, I was thinking about this before. A lot of the places I'd like to travel to now are sort of those kind of destinations where they're not sort of, big cities or things or highly populated areas. They're sort of experiencing the vastness of what planet Earth has to offer. Just getting yourself, not so much lost in the wilderness, but for instance, this year I went to the Great Wall of China, and which was one of the things on my bucket list. So I've been able to tick that off. And just being there on the wall and looking around and seeing absolutely nothing but, uninhabited space, just the vastness of just trees and nothing else, no buildings, no city skylines, and just knowing that you're so small in such a massive, world is very, very fulfilling.
What's next on the list, good sir?
Running a marathon. I'm yet to do that. So I love running. I do it at least a couple of times a week. I have ran a half marathon, but I'm yet to do the full. So that is planned for in the next couple of years. I've known a lot of family guys who have done marathons, and I think just the amount of resources and time you've got to put into training for a marathon, a lot of weekend time. I guess you're out for a good few hours on a Sunday or a Saturday, spending, it's I guess it's kind of maybe a bit of a selfish sport if you've got kids in some terms, young kids, from my point of view anyway, because it would take time away from them. So I'm more than happy to wait until the kids are a bit older, and they're not wanting to spend as much time with their dad on the weekends, I guess. So running a marathon, and even maybe running a marathon after I've done one here on flat ground, maybe running a marathon. I'd love to go to, say, New York or, a London marathon or something like that. So that's probably number 2.
Now, how old are you, Matthew?
I am 36.
Well, you inevitably do this particular one when you're 39, because statistically people are, I don't know, the exact percentage more, but you're significantly more likely to run a marathon when you're 29, 39 or 49. And I think it's just that I'm almost turning a major milestone. I must do this thing before I'm going to turn like an O. And it's a statistic anomaly that heaps more people run a marathon when they're 29 or 39. So I reckon you'll be nailing that one in roughly the same time as you're doing Everest.
Great. Actually, funny you should say that, because I did get an email the other day from this running sort of website I get emails from, and there is an Everest Base Camp marathon. So who knows?
One activity, 2 bucket list items ticked off. This is good.
Oh, kicking goals, yeah.
One very fit dude there. Going to your 40th year, very ripped.
I think the altitude sickness would probably get to me though, doing a marathon up there.
That's a good one though. That ticks off an activity, so it's actually something personal. There's a travel-based one. So and this is the whole idea behind a bucket list, I guess. It's not just doing things or it's not just visiting things. It's a mix of a whole bunch of different things as well as different achievements. I was having a look at bucket lists earlier today to try to get some inspiration to have my own bucket list. And yeah, there's things on there like getting married and having kids and things like that. They can form parts of bucket lists. And I just thought they were everyday things. There's another one on there, get a tattoo. I've gone, sure, that's on a bucket list. I'm just go down the street and just go, give me a tattoo, mate.
That's true. When you put it like that, like, I guess, well, maybe when you're, a young, dashing lad in your late teens, marriage, kids, maybe tattoos are, but they're possibly might not be on your bucket list. But as you get older, obviously your bucket list probably changes a bit, I would have thought. So finding a princess to marry, I've ticked that off the bucket list. And I guess I'll throw it in there. Kim sometimes listens to this. So.
Brownie points for sure.
And yeah, kids, I did get a tattoo on my wrist. So yeah, ticking those things off the bucket list.
Was a tattoo on your bucket list?
It wasn't on my bucket list, and I'd love to say it's a big manly tattoo of, across my muscle, but it's a it's a medical tattoo post cancer, so it just sits on my lower wrist, just to advise some people to when they revive me.
I was going to say, what does the tattoo say from a medical perspective? What's not on your bucket list
Yeah,
for people to
so-
understand these sort of things?
Yeah, okay. So one of the parts of my chemotherapy, one of the drugs they gave me was a drug called bleomycin, and that can have an effect on the on the lung. So when you say you are unconscious or you're needed to be given oxygen, I can't have the standard oxygen. I need to have sort of medical oxygen, which I think is a bit more pure. So I've got that written on my the bottom of my wrist. It says bleomycin, just to advise anybody who needs to resuscitate me or give me oxygen that I've had bleomycin in my system. So to be careful, because it can lead to some lung damage, and potentially if it's given in large doses, it can be fatal. So
does that mean people can't give you mouth to mouth?
that is a great question. A very good question. I'll ask my oncologist next time I see him.
You might need to add to your tattoo.
Put one on the other side. No,
no mouth to mouth.
No mouth to mouth. Number 3 is, look, it's another travel one, and I'll throw 2 travel ones in there just to kill 2 off. Seeing the pyramids. I'd love to see the pyramids. And also just experiencing the midnight sun in the Arctic Circle. So heading off to, say, Norway or something like that, and just seeing the sun just dip under the horizon and then pick back up again. I think that'd be, well, for me, that'd be a spectacle to see.
24-hour party people just never go to sleep.
Yeah, I just love to know what that sort of feels like and experience it. I'd probably get sick of it after a week, but I think it'd be pretty cool.
I think it would fuck with your your internal body clock.
Would it ever? From there, we'll go to seeing some whales is on my bucket list as well. So living in Brisbane now, that's probably closer to being achieved than it was when I lived in Melbourne, as we are, very close to, I guess, the passage the whales take down from Antarctica up to the warmer waters of the Whitsundays and the Barrier Reef. So yeah, ample whale watching tours up here, and I've just never gotten around to jumping on board one yet. In the 5 or 6 years.
That sounds like it would be a really easy one to tick off the bucket list. As you do mention, they migrate basically straight past your house.
Yeah. I'm not too sure why. I guess it's one of those things that, when there's something amazing in your own city that you just never get around to going to see. So it's on the list. And now that we've got, kids are getting older, it's a good chance for them to get out and see it as well and experience it. So that's probably one that's going to happen sooner rather than later than some of the other ones.
I can understand that. Again, it's seeing something utterly beautiful. That probably will be something which may make its way onto my bucket list. I'm going to borrow from your bucket, Matthew, and maybe pop it in my bucket.
Highly recommend. We were in, I think, Vancouver, October last year, and got to see killer whales in the wild, and sort of chase them and follow them in a boat for a couple of hours. And an uncle of mine actually has a humpback whale watching business down in Albany, Western Australia there. So it is absolutely stunning if you do get the chance.
Of course.
But the killer whales were a highlight for me.
I was going to say, of course, you take it to the next level. You chase killer whales like the hardcore individual that you are, not just, I looked at a blue whale just flapping around. You chase dead killer whales.
I also went swimming with whale sharks when I was in the Philippines, so I'd highly recommend that one, Matt.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Go snorkel with them.
Was that
Very
scary?
easy to do. The ones that I had they were only about sort of 11, 12 meters, so they didn't get to that 18, 19 that they can do. But it was still pretty cool. Snorkel and just see this mammoth thing underneath you.
Good on you.
11 or 12 meters. What's that, like the size of a bus or something?
Yeah, a little bit under. So they were sort of, they're not like, if you go to Broome in WA, you can get the really big ones, and these were sort of like their smaller cousins, but still awesome experience.
Yeah, but Broome also have actual sharks.
That's true. You're whale watching, and then suddenly you're like, oh yep, there's a great white over there. Wonderful. No, a mate of mine, he's a professional diver, and he did the cage one in South Australia. Said that was amazing. But I know for a fact he's got on the bucket list, he wants to do the free dive with the tiger sharks, and I think it's the hammerheads off South Africa.
Hammerheads I'd cop. They're fairly harmless, but a tiger sharks are legit. They're legit. Yeah, good luck to that.
That's
Fella.
an extreme bucket list.
Yeah. All right. How are you, Matty?
I don't think.
Some tiger sharks?
Yeah, no sharks for me. I'd love to get it. Like Ryan said, I'd love to jump in and dive with these whales, but I don't know. There's always just something in the back of my mind when I'm in the water down deep that there's something's going to get me. I know it's probably very safe in the warm waters of the Philippines, but I don't know.
Read Pinocchio. Read Pinocchio too many times where you end up in the belly of a whale.
Yep.
What's next on your list, mate?
Next is do a house flip from start to finish. So I know we spoke about this in the $1 million episode, but yeah, I'd love to be able to find something with Kimmy and not have to rent it out or anything. Just go from start to finish, buy, flip, and sell. So that's on my list. That's definitely not something that I want to do soon in the short term. That'll be post probably once the kids have gone through high school and all those sort of costs are covered. But yeah, I think flipping a house is one of my goals or dreams.
Well, you started small. You've gone with a cubby house, so you're at least testing the waters with getting something together. And I assume you might try to then on-sell it to the 3 kids at some point.
Yes, starting small. So that's on stumps. I know how to do that now, and it's got floorboards. So just need to learn plumbing and electrical, and I think I'm probably there.
I think maybe the electrical, and you might have to outsource that. You don't really want to get electrocuted.
That's true.
Would you ever go to a show like The Block?
Not The Block, no. Look, I haven't got that eccentric personality I think you need for those kind of TV shows. Although once, but I did want to go on, and I remember flagging this with you years ago, Kane, about us applying for The Amazing Race. I'm not too sure if you remember that, but
I do. It would have been good.
Cool. Yeah.
I think we had enough of a story though. You had to have some kind of weird story which they could tap into, and then kind of edit around that. Where we were just like, oh, we actually get on really well. We're probably not going to fight. We're not lovers. Like we're not long lost brothers. Like it was just, hey, we're good mates, and we're probably going to be pretty boring TV. So I think it kind of just fizzled.
Yeah, we wouldn't have rated probably very highly for the network. So.
Yeah, and now it's not on anywhere anyway. So more for you, Amazing Race.
Yeah. Look, from there, we'll jump across to another travel one, but I think it's my last one. Going on the Trans-Siberian Railway. Do either of you know what that is?
I've heard of it. It does sound very adventurous.
Was that was in the film where Tom Hanks was the voice of the conductor or something? It was a Christmas film and went off the rails.
Polar Express? I haven't seen that.
You sound similar. No, it's probably not that. It's probably not that at all.
So this train goes from Moscow all the way across to Vladivostok in, I guess the edge of the Asian continent. So it's I think it's about 16,000 kilometers. Anyway, it's a 6-day journey. And it goes across quite a few time zones, and you get to experience the I guess the scenery from all across Russia into the different countries. So I think it eventually goes into China, and then there's a little bit of Russia that kicks around the Chinese border on the east coast of the continent. So that's another one. I'm not too sure who I could rope into doing that. Maybe Kim's dad. He's a bit of a train traveller, but 6 days on a train is probably not for everybody. But I wouldn't mind giving it a crack.
there's 9,000 Ks as well. So that's a long time and a long distance. 6 days and 9,000 Ks on a train. They does say that Russian trains are some of the safest in the world, and it definitely does not involve Tom Hanks voicing any characters.
No, he definitely wouldn't be on there. But no, you can get some really fancy cabins on these things, which with nice beds and toilet facilities, and a dining cart where you eat every night. So I dare say I'd be quite the handy player in bridge or a card game of that nature.
Well, we might be able to combine 3 of these now. Then I think on the basis that you want to go and look at Everest, and you could probably do your marathon there, duck across to Beijing, and can you go reverse Beijing to Moscow? Or is it
you can.
Beijing?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You can go the other way, and you basically covered 3 of your bucket list off in probably a 3-week period.
Then a quick flight up from Moscow to the Arctic Circle, cross off the midnight sun, and bang.
Just see a couple of whales up there, maybe.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, your list is done. This is easy. This has proven much easier than I expected.
I'll have to redo my bucket list again.
Is there anything else on there?
There is one more on there, and that is to start my own business.
This is another one which has been kicking around with you for quite a while.
It has. So I, keeping in the traveling theme, I'd love to set up a little travel sort of consulting business. So I got this idea from I love organising travel. So whenever we go overseas with Kim's family, or we go somewhere with my family or whatever, I'm generally the one that sort of organises flights, accommodation, any tours we go on, or just the day-to-day running of everything to make sure it's all nice and smooth. And that really brings me joy, in the words of Marie Kondo. So that I love doing that. And for me, half the fun of going on these kind of trips is the preparation. So I would love to be able to do that for people in some way. So at the moment, and for the last couple of years, I've just been doing a bit of research here and there of what I need to start up a business. So yeah, but at the moment, working full time, 3 young kids, it's kind of on the back burner. So I'm hoping that'll change. But for now, it's sort of in the R&D phase, I guess you'd call it.
Good old R&D. That's an interesting one. Like, you obviously start a business in anything, so it's starting a specific business.
Well, I'm not too sure, how it come about. I guess I'd be happy just to do this, do holiday consulting or planning for people for free. I guess to start off with, just to get in a rhythm and build some sort of system where before I went live or anything like that. But yeah, it'd be just providing a service of, someone would come to me and say, look, Matt, I'd love to go to here, these dates, this is my sort of travel budget, what do you sort of suggest? And I'd just go away and research the hell out of it, which I love doing. So it wouldn't really feel like work to me. It'd be just, it'd just be fun.
That's really interesting. So you'd be like a travel agent, except you actually care.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You get a Matty McTire 24/7 helpline.
Apologies to all the travel agents who log in and listen to this podcast every week. I mean no ill will towards you all, but often none of you actually care.
That is true. You do hear a lot of those kind of stories where people get stuck and or they've been booked, the worst piece of, what appeals to the 20-year-old travel consultant behind the desk is not necessarily what the 60-year-old couple want out of their holiday. But yeah, that's where I'd come in and tailor it a bit better.
You're not going to send my parents to Ibiza. They're 65.
No silent discos for those guys.
That's a really interesting bucket list with a mix of different stuff on there. And again, it's covering off on all the things, sort of like, travel-based things, doing things. That's a really good, solid list, mate.
Thank you. Yeah. It hasn't been around forever, but then, and it's sort of changed over, well, I looking at it now, I can say it definitely changed to what it would have been, a few years ago. But yeah, that's where we're at the moment.
How often do you review it or look at it or add to it or subtract from it?
I add to it in my mind quite often, but penning it down is what I don't do well. So maybe from this podcast, and following on from Kimmy and her 100 Dreams thing, I need to go and buy a book. I've been to Officeworks to try and find a ledger or a book to start writing this stuff down. So I'll do that this week, and bang, I'll start writing these things down to be more accountable.
You should use Evernote or an online sort of tool where you can just, when it comes to mind, just get your phone out and just bang it out on there and add to it.
Yes, I do need something like that, and then I can write it down. Evernote, okay, making a note of Evernote.
Make an Evernote, mate. Make an Evernote. It's free. We're not paid to promote Evernote on the podcast.
We do like free stuff here, certainly. But I think, Matt, I will more than happily let you book my next holiday adventure, because it is not something that I'm a big fan of. But I think you hit your marathon on base camp and see the Arctic and swim with a few whales, publish a book, and then suddenly you'll have the platform and shoot straight into your business.
Publish a book.
There's your business plan 101 right there.
I like that we've already merged two of his bucket list items into one. It's a marathon at base camp.
Exactly.
I like that as well. It's condensing. It's good, boys.
Well, yeah, exactly right. You can get more done with less.
Start a business, increase the income to flip a house, bang.
This is turned into a bucket list strategy extravaganza.
Hey, you'll turn 45 and need to just scrap and start again with a new bucket list by the sound of this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think for people out there, it is a really good exercise to go through and actually sit down and, 100 dreams like Kimmy's doing. I can't imagine trying to jot down 100 dreams, but making a bucket list and actually really thinking about things you've always wanted to do and maybe things which are more relative to what you want to do from where you are in your life now. I think it's a really important thing for people to do as well. It just it gives everybody something a bit more aspirational to kind of work towards. Otherwise, you sometimes do get caught in the humdrum monotony of everyday life. So a bucket list can be a really important way of putting something down. And once you write something down, it's much more likely to happen.
Absolutely. You do get bogged down in the day-to-day things and just taking the time to actually think about what not so much maybe goals in life, but bucket lists is a chance to dream, I think.
I like it. That does wrap it up for this week on Daddy Eats Last. Remember to subscribe to Daddy Eats Last on iTunes, and also set up an Evernote account if you don't have one. While you're on the Daddy Eats Last part of iTunes, please leave a review. Also, tell your mates about the podcast, especially if they are guys. Most of all, thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week for another episode, or should I say serving, of Daddy Eats Last. How's that for a dad joke? If you do need a travel agent, reach out to Matty McTighe. Catch you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.